This is Hebron, known to Palestinians as the city of al-Khalil. This is the West Bank's largest and most populated city. Hebron is dubbed by Israel as Hebron Smart City, where the Apartheid state tests its draconian surveillance technology on the Palestinian population as part of what is called the Wolfpack surveillance system. This is a vast database that includes all information about each and every single Palestinian, including where they live, work, go to school, who their family members are, and if they are wanted for questioning. Palestinians in Hebron are the most surveilled people on the planet.
And wherever I go as Palestinian, I can see there's cameras. But those cameras, it will never make me innocent. But something very important, what make me feel uncomfortable, while I'm crossing through the checkpoint, the soldier asked me to look at the camera.
Izzat Karake is a Palestinian activist with Youth Against Settlements, a non-violent direct action group that educates Hebron's youth on how to resist occupation and apartheid through media and advocacy work. During my visit here, I was immediately struck by the dozens, if not hundreds, of cameras dotting each street. These cameras are installed by the Israeli military on light posts and on the rooftops and sides of buildings. These are face-scanning cameras called Red Wolf to help Israeli soldiers identify Palestinians at checkpoints, even before Palestinians present their ID cards to cross through. These cameras are also used to monitor Palestinians' movement and daily life. Soldiers then use the Blue Wolf app directly from their smartphones to access the Wolfpack database on Palestinians. I was likely automatically enrolled in the Wolfpack surveillance database by the face-scanning cameras, which scan people's faces without their consent or knowledge. When a face scan enters the system, it is then compared with biometric entries in the database, and if you're new here like I am, it enrolls you automatically. Israeli soldiers have even reported that these cameras can see inside people's homes.
So it's not that much easy for them to handle with all the difficulties we are facing, and fence, closure, checkpoint, soldier, cameras, watchtower, everywhere. So many people, for me as Palestinian, while I'm living here, I cannot avoid from this kind of thing. I have to see it every day. It's in my daily life to see soldiers, settlers, checkpoint.
Amnesty International and other human rights organizations have extensively documented Israel's mass surveillance project under Wolfpack. In a new report released by Amnesty last year, it describes these heavily draconian and militarized practices as automated apartheid that further fragments, segregates, and controls Palestinians. This invasive surveillance technology that targets and monitors Palestinians compounds an already existing segregated system of apartheid in Hebron, where the city has been split into two zones, H1 and H2. The two segments of Hebron are separated by a militarized checkpoint that allows for the maintenance and expansion of an illegal settler settlement right in the middle of Tel Meida neighborhood that overlooks the Palestinian city's market. This is where Youth Against Settlements was born after a Palestinian building that was initially occupied first by the Israeli military and then later by Israeli settlers. It was reclaimed for Palestinian use through a non-violent direct action and legal campaign.
But right now we are talking about more than 1,800 Palestinian shops are closed. More than 1,000 Palestinian apartments are empty. If you ask me why all these shops are closed, why all these houses are empty, because I don't have access to it as Palestinian. It makes me feel so sad as Palestinian, to see people came from the other part of the world and they can go wherever they want in my city.
Just feet away from the bustling shopping market in Hebron is the heavily equipped Israeli checkpoint 56, where over 25 audio-visual surveillance devices and sensors are installed. This is where Palestinians must cross through from the Tel Meida neighborhood to get their daily essentials and do their shopping from the market. It's also where residents must cross through to get to work, go to school, to seek healthcare, or visit family. Tel Meida is a small Palestinian neighborhood in Hebron that is now home to over 700 illegal Israeli settlers that began squatting here in 1984. These extremist settlers are heavily armed and walk around the neighborhood bearing their rifles, whereas it's illegal for Palestinians to even own a gun. The main street running through the Tell el-Meyda neighborhood is called Shuhada Street, or translated from Arabic into English as Martyrs Street, that the Israeli government has now renamed to Chicago Street in its attempt to erase Palestinian roots to the land, a textbook example of settler colonialism. Walking through Shuhada Street felt like we were walking through a ghost town.
It's ghost town, and something very important you have to know. I'm not happy to see them change my city in front of my eyes. They change everything, even the name of the street, the name of the neighborhood, from Palestinian Arabic name into Israeli settlers' name. Shuhada Street, as I told you, it used to be the heart of the city.
Each year, Izzat and his colleagues with Youth Against Settlements hold an annual march called Open Shuhada Street campaign that draws international attention to the illegal siege of the city. Not only has Israel occupied and fragmented this neighborhood to make room for the Israeli settlers, but it's also altering this area to Judaize the entire quarter, meaning planning to expand its colonization of the area to ethnically cleanse and displace Palestinians out of here so Israeli settlers can take over. This military strategy is used to protect, expand, and connect other Jewish settlements nearby in Israel's quest to ensure an ethno-Jewish state.
So most of the Palestinians who are living here, they have to stop or they have to park their car outside of the checkpoint, and they have to come here and walk, which is something like, difficult. So there's some members of the families, they have to go to the city center of Hebron and come back 10 times per day or 5 times per day.
Barbed wire covers Palestinian homes that are fenced here to protect them from Israeli settler attacks and harassment. Hebron has seen some of the most violent settler assaults against Palestinians, especially after Hamas's surprise attack and Israel's assault on Gaza. In many cases, the armed settlers are escorted and protected by Israeli soldiers. Settlers regularly harass Palestinians, throwing garbage, rocks, and glass bottles at their homes. But the intimidation doesn't end there. An AI smart shooter sits atop of this checkpoint on Shuhada Street, pointing directly at Hebron's marketplace, where thousands of Palestinians pass by each day. Israel installed the remote-controlled and automatic turret gun shooter in 2022. According to Israel's army spokesperson, the AI smart shooter is used as a dispersal measure as part of the army's improved preparations for confronting people disrupting order.
So there is hundreds of families. They use this checkpoint to reach their house, while they have this kind of shooter or smart shooter on them. It doesn't make them feel safe, because at any point it could kill someone by accident, as they say.
But the smart shooter only adds to an already heavily militarized Israeli presence in the middle of the most populated Palestinian city, where nearly 40,000 residents reside. Passing through this checkpoint was intimidating and a very terrifying experience that left me, a Palestinian American visitor, shaking. As for Palestinians who must cross through here every day, the AI smart shooter has left residents feeling anxious to walk through their own neighborhoods. Since 2019, the Israeli military has been expanding its surveillance tech to monitor Palestinians, but it's in Hebron where the Israeli military tests its latest facial recognition technology before selling it on the international market and using it in Gaza. Just as Gaza has become a laboratory and showroom for Israel's battle-tested weapons, the success of the Hebron Smart City facial recognition technology and database through Wolfpack to track Palestinians will be used for Israel to continue to profit off of its illegal military occupation of Palestine and surveillance of Palestinian civilians. This automated apartheid only further establishes segregation of Palestinians and expands Israel's apartheid system and ethnic cleansing of Palestinians.